recommend you try it. Just visit ketone.com/Stephen and you'll get 30% off your first subscription order. You'll also get a free gift with your second shipment. That's ketone.com/Stephen. Your show is called your new, well, it's not new necessarily. I actually saw it in London. Me and my girlfriend were in the front row when you came and did acting my age in London. The show was absolutely hilarious. And we were dying of laughter. And it's coming to Netflix Monday the 24th of November. So if you're listening now, you've got to go and watch it. But the title of the show, Acting My Age, what do you mean acting my age? And why now?
Hey, you gotta grow up. I think it's like one of the toughest things in life is just realizing what grow up actually means, right? Like you can be an adult, but still not embrace what being an adult actually is. And when it's time to grow up, you start sacrificing the shit that the younger version of you with less responsibilities thrived and flourished off of in it. You realize that a lot of that shit gets thrown on the back burner and it's no longer important because you're fucking getting older and some shit just isn't the same, right? Like, I just made a decision to let go of a certain version of life and embrace my age and all the fun that comes with it.
What about being a man? It's confusing. I think it's more confusing than ever for many to be a man, and we often talk about this masculinity crisis where men have less male friends than ever before. The stats are pretty shocking on this. Suicidation is 300 to 400% higher in men. There's a college degree gap. For every 2 men who earn a bachelor's degree in the US, 3 women do. There's a workforce dropout rate, which is pretty terrifying. Millions of prime-age men between the age of 24 and 50 are no longer in the labour force, representing almost 10% drop. Being a man is tough these days for a bunch of different reasons.
You got a plethora.
A plethora of reasons. Yeah, it's not straightforward.
Yes. Polluted waters is what I call it. Extremely polluted waters.
What advice have you got for young men in terms of like what it takes to be a good man?
You know, I think the definition of a good man is so foggy today, right? And I'm a firm believer that change comes within time. So I'll start by saying that, and I understand that, you know, nothing should stay the same. Everything should evolve when it's evolving. The conversation of a man and what makes a man is weird. It's like, it's not evolving, right? And, you know, I was raised on a foundation of a leader or leadership. And I think, you know, rest in peace to my dad, fucked up of a road that my dad had. My dad's like later years were driven from accountability. I'm aware of what I didn't do. I'm aware of the mistakes that I made. And I'm aware of what I should have did much better. I can't change those things, but I would love to try to be the best grandfather or grandparent that I can be. Kevin, I love you and I love your brother, but I can't go back. I can only say I'm sorry. And I wish I could. You don't have to. Like, the grandkids are your focus. And if you can be the dopest example of a grandpa to them, then that's the win for me at this point. But his accountability in that moment is what I remember the most about my father and love the most. Because leadership, or lack thereof, put me in a position to say, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. And not because my dad is like the worst, but fuck, man. If he didn't do these things wrong, like the time shit in, I wouldn't know how to do them right. So now, I got 2 boys. I want to make sure that my example of man to my sons is leadership, responsibility. It's accountability.
Emotions.
You know, I'm not against emotions, but I am also, I am a student of everybody has problems. There's not a shortage of problems. So the weight of the world that you feel is the heaviest for you may not come close to what the weight of the world is for you. And I think in sharing your emotions and having an opportunity to voice or offload them, extremely important. But you also are in a world where, you know, weakness can at some point in time be taken advantage of, right? You are in the world of like prey and sharks, as I presented earlier. And it doesn't mean that your emotions don't matter, because they do. It means that you also have to be smart and aware, right? And what are you ultimately trying your best to become? And what are you ultimately trying to be the best example for yourself first, and then others for? I don't mind being weak, but I talk to my kids. I talk to them and I voice. Your dad deals with struggles that you'll never know about, because I don't want you to have to feel the burden of them. It's my job to try my best to make life easier for you, so that you can go on and do way more than I ever had. It's my job to give you the opportunities to learn shit that I never knew that I could learn at this stage. And I'm going to make sure that I communicate with you differently than I was communicated with. I'm not going to let you fuck off and take advantage of the things that you have as resources at your fingertips. I'm not going to let you tell me the things that you think you should do because you feel, when I know right now at this stage in your life what's best for you. That's my format of parenting, and it doesn't mean it's the same for others. But for the man that I am, I know the type of man that I want my kids to be based off of what my outcome was and is. And I think that if I correctly position them to simply understand, in your older age, you make whatever decisions you want. I'm your father. I'm gonna love you regardless. Has no care or worry to me. I want to know that I did my job for what I was supposed to control. And I want to know that our conversations and our dialogue was always straight up and straightforward enough to where you were comfortable to talk to me, and you were comfortable and feeling like your father has your best interest. That's, for me, that's my makeup. And in the time today, my makeup doesn't have to fit yours. And I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with yours being whatever it is for you. But I think we're in a time today where society wants to fight with one another about, it's just too much of like, well, if you don't see it my way, then you're dumb. Yeah. And that's, I think that's why the conversation has gotten so inconsistent and polluted. That's my personal opinion and my side of the information attached to it. So hopefully, you know, your viewers can hear that and understand that and know it's okay with not being okay with my children.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay.
Kevin, we have a closing tradition where the last guest leaves a question to the next one, knowing who they're leaving it for. The question left for you is, what is the advice you got as an adult that had the most significant impact on your life?
I'm gonna go to the best piece of advice came from Chris Rock, where Chris Rock told me early in my comedy career, he says, the exact word is, you don't just want to make niggas laugh. The world is so much bigger than your block or your neighborhood. He said, get out the country. Get out the country and figure out a way to make the world laugh. And comedy would be so much better. At that point, I was very like specific in my material. 50 the area, you know, we got these. The drugstore is crazy. You ever had a guy at the drugstore in your block? And it's like, well, everybody doesn't relate or can't relate. How do you broaden it? How do you open it up so that you're never changing your material or who you are? Everywhere you go in the world, people can laugh and you never have to adjust. Get out the country. Get bigger in the way you're thinking about your craft.
I mean, you've done that across the board and across industries now. You've been willing to be the person, the outsider in lots of rooms. Mm-hmm. That seems to be really central to your success. And what Chris Rock said to you there was, get out into the unfamiliar. go put yourself in an unfamiliar place. And when I look at your career and the empire that you've been able to build across business and investing, it's exactly that. It's you were willing to be in unfamiliar territories for some reason.
Yeah, yeah. You know what you just made me think about too? And I'm gonna backtrack before you leave. One thing that's like kind of crazy, just when we were talking about the conversation of man, like it's a weird thing that's happening where you have men that are opening up more and talking more about like the struggles of a man. But then those things are like being used against them in the conversation of men. Like when you get to talking about like the things that you're dealing with and the emotions and stuff like that.
The mental health.
The mental health and the weight. Like it seems that in this time today, more men are being forward and wanting to express and talk, but the fear of being judged after.
Do you have that fear?
No, I don't give a shit. I don't care too much what people think.
Have you struggled with your mental health?
No. I think I told you my shit is like more stress. It's not
Vamos a cambiar de posición, vamos a hacerlo boca abajo.
Anxiety or
no, just like I know
yeah.
I know for a fact. I know it's important. You have to check that. So what I'm getting better at is the day.
Pasa, pon el... Sí.
I know I told him I would do calls. Tell him I'll start that tomorrow or the day after. Like there's a time where I get to a point in the day where I'm like, okay, that's it.
You're done.
That's my it. Like, and I'm literally done. I don't wanna talk about anything else. I don't wanna hear.
So you're pushing yourself right at the edge over and over and over
I get to a point in the day in that timeline when I'm shutting off. Before it was, wee hours of the night, I'm still on the phone figuring it out. And all day you just been racing. I think the older that I've gotten, I've realized more and more that's not healthy. The healthy side comes with silence for a second. You need some silence. Around the car by yourself, no music.
Sounds a bit like a disease.
No, you need silence.
Do you know what I mean by it sounds a bit like a disease? Because this is something that's taking you to a point where it's like it's kind of hurting you a little bit. And I can relate, so it's not like I'm like passing judgment because you just described my entire life. You're not going to be as present with your loved ones. You're not going to be as present in your relationship when you're married. You've got 4 kids. How are you ever going to be like truly present when your brain is like
this? But also, how do you become comfortable with being okay with people not understanding? That's the truth. Like I hate to say it bluntly.
Yeah.
I used to have such a high level of give a fuck attached to how you felt about my decisions that were best for me. Oh God, I would have said it, and I feel it, not doing it. This is crazy. I'll just do it. Because I'm thinking more about you than I'm thinking about me. Right? I'm putting everybody before me. I'm putting everybody's needs, everybody's wants, everybody's reasons, all before me. Nobody is thinking about the volume of dialogue that I'm delivering on a day-to-day basis and how much of that happens over and over again. Nobody's thinking about it. So the day that I became comfortable with going, I don't really give a fuck if they understand or not. I'm done. I know, but they feel it's really important. You gotta do it today. I'll talk to them tomorrow. Nothing's gonna happen. Nothing's gonna change from this time to that time. You have to get to a point to where you actually get that and are okay with that. Because if not, you're constantly putting all of the shit from outside there on your table and your plate's always full. You're never finishing your fucking plate because you're just constantly, people just keep coming and dumping more shit on it. So imagine that. Imagine if people just keep telling you to keep eating. You just keep getting full. Eventually you can't fucking breathe. And you bust. It's no different from your mind. And more today than ever, you're seeing more people pop from mental overload, man. People aren't crazy. I hate this whole crazy. You crazy, motherfucker, you crazy. It's motherfuckers are just popping. It's too much. And when they snap, they snap. I said that's not what I'm saying. I'm serious shit. And it's like, goddamn, man. You crazy? No, you're not. Motherfuckers just popped.
But you got the money to go chill in Bali.
I'm going.
But you don't
I have the money to not go chill about it. I have the money to say I'm not talking to anyone. That's the difference. It's not about the vacation. It's not about the trip. It's not about I'm not talking anymore today. So the people and the resources that I put around me to help me do your job.
What happens next for you? We sit here in 10 years' time, it all went well. What happened?
I think in 10 years' time, I'm able to sit on a stool at a comedy club with 30 people and do material and enjoy my craft. And it's little small hole-in-the-wall comedy clubs wherever I'm living at the time. I do it maybe twice a week. And I golf. And I spend time with my kids and hopefully their kids. I'm a grandpa. And we're able to like look through photo albums and remember when. And mailbox money is attached to things that I've built that are operating and functioning on its own. That's my version of success.
Kevin, thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much for all the, you talked about how you've made people's lives happier and made people more connected, etc. And that's exactly the impact you've had on me. I remember the first time I watched one of your comedy specials and watched you on stage was when I was going through a very tough part of my life. I was lonely, I was in this room in Manchester, I'm probably 18 years old at the time. And I'm trying to figure out my career and my future. Things are hard, and I think like pirating your comedy specials was that little moment of escapism, was that little moment of joy in my day. And so you're that for so many, many millions of people that you'll never get to meet. You brought so much joy to families, you brought families together, you brought me and my girlfriend out to come and see you in Liverpool. I also got to see you in New York City when you did, I think it was Madison Square Garden here as well, on that square stage. You're a source of joy and connectivity. And if the world ever needed that energy right now, it needs it now more than ever.
I humbly appreciate you and thank you. This is amazing, man. I think you're doing this service and good. And what you're providing for the masses is necessary. So don't stop. Keep going, man.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Make sure you keep what I'm about to say to yourself. I'm inviting 10,000 of you to come even deeper into the Diary of a CEO. Welcome to my inner circle. This is a brand new private community that I'm launching to up. We have so many incredible things that happen that you are never shown. We have the briefs that are on my iPad when I'm recording the conversation. We have clips we've never released. We have behind the scenes conversations with the guests and also the episodes that we've never ever released. And so much more. In the circle, you'll have direct access to me. You can tell us what you want this show to be, who you want us to interview, and the types of conversations you would love us to have. But remember, for now, we're only inviting the first 10,000 people that join before it closes. So if you want to join our private closed community, head to the link in the description below or go to doaccircle.com. I will speak to you then.
You are where you want to be in life because you can't withstand the hard times and hard things that happen to you, and it takes you too long to recover. You fall too far when it happens, and then finally, when you do recover, you're worse than you were when you started. I'm Alex Rosie. I'm an activism.com. It's a company that makes lots of money, but today I want to talk about something that I think is key to entrepreneurship and even just being a human being who gets what they want out of life. And it's a topic that I think a lot about, which is one that's called mental toughness. And so I made this for you guys. What is mental toughness? It's the chance a bad thing changes how you act in a way that's against your goals. Or what does it actually mean? It just means the percentage likelihood that when something bad happens, you change the way you act in a way that's not ideal. that means that mental toughness is no longer a do you have mental toughness or not, but instead it's how much mental toughness do you have. Fundamentally, what we're trying to get into is how people respond to bad things. All right. And so once we have it defined, which is that the chance a bad thing happens to you, then we have to create an environment in which mental toughness can be exercised and then ideally measured. Right? And when we do that, I can give you a visual so that you can start thinking about your own behavior within this context. So number one here, that's how you normally behave. So whatever your normal kind of baseline is, that's how you act every single day. Then at some point, a bad thing or enough bad things happen that it forces you to change how you behave. That's step two. Step three is, okay, once I've changed how I behave, how low do I go or how upset do I get, right? Number three. Then there's a certain period of time that elapses where you continue this bad behavior, and then you start coming up, you start recovering. That's the next period, which is number four. Number five is going to be bi-directional. Either you get better as a result of this hard thing, or you get worse. And then number six, the last one there is how much better did you get, or how much worse did you get? And so this gives us kind of a framework to think through mental toughness, not as this like amorphous, like rah, 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 like beat your chest, like alpha masculinity thing, but really just how resilient are you as a human being? And to be clear, when I say bad for the rest of our time, or really when you hear me say bad in general, I just mean against your preferences. There's something that happened that you wish didn't happen, and that's what makes it bad for our definition, okay? And so people mistakenly believe that mental toughness is one thing, and looking at the model that I just walked through, I believe that it's actually four separate components that make up mental toughness overall. So number one is tolerance, number two is fortitude, number three is resilience, and number four is adaptability. And so when we draw these out, we look at these visually, we have them looking like this. So each of these is a measured point in kind of this behavior frame. And so let's dive into all four. So the first component of toughness in my model is tolerance. And to be clear, I don't think these words matter as much as the thing that they're measuring. All right. So the definitions matter far more than the label on the describing set. So your tolerance, which is this first part here, this is how much hardship, the number of hardships, or how long you can endure hardship. I keep wanting to say hardship before you have a change in behavior. All right. How much tough stuff can you go through before you crack? And so if you're somebody who has a long fuse, aka it takes a lot to rock your boat, you have high tolerance, right? It takes a lot of stuff before you just say like, screw it. Short fuse, anything can set you off. And you demonstrate low tolerance in that situation compared to the first example. You guys pulling this in? So super long fuse, high tolerance, super short fuse, low tolerance. And so as I'm going through these, I would love you to think for yourself like, okay, do I have high tolerance? Do I have medium tolerance? Do I have low tolerance? Because none of us is perfect. And so we can always, if we start measuring the components of mental toughness for our own behavior, it means we begin the process of being able to improve it. That's thing one. Okay. So, and I want to be very clear about this. Tolerance is not about ignoring pain, but about how long you maintain your intended behavior before disruption. As in, how long do you act normally before you stop acting normally? Now, the second element of our little model here is fortitude, right? It's the intensity of behavior change once your tolerance threshold has been surpassed. So we translate that. So it's how much you change how you act once you've had enough hard stuff that you snap. How low do you go? How upset do you get? Do you take a deep breath, walk outside for 5 minutes, and then you come back? Or do you quit your job, get divorced, and get into hard drugs, right? Look at the difference between these two things. So if you have low fortitude compared to the high fortitude example, you have a way steeper drop, a way larger change in behavior as a result. And the third is resilience. And this one's a really interesting one. I want to, like, if there's one of these that I think is one of the most workable for many of you, and also probably the one that I would encourage you to work on the most if you don't have what you want in life, it would be this one. So after a change in behavior has occurred from a bad thing, how long it takes you to return to a new baseline. So once bad shit happens to you and you start acting out, how long does it take you to stop acting out? That's what resilience is. It's a measure of time. So do you bounce back in 5 minutes? You take a couple breaths, you walk outside, you come back in, you're good to go, right? If so, you have high resilience. Even if it's, now mind you, even if it's really steep, even if you like go crazy, but then you come back real fast, you still have high resilience. You might have low fortitude, but you have high resilience. You're back, right? Or does it take you 5 years to bounce back? Compared to the 5-minute person, you have low resilience. Look how long it takes you to come back to normal. And so as you're thinking through this, I would encourage you, one, you can think about yourself, but also like, who are the people in your life who you're like, man, something throws so-and-so off, and it's like they're in a funk for like months. That person is low resilience, right? If you have high resilience, what's interesting about it is that like, even if something completely rocks you, you can come back, and it doesn't massively affect your life because you're like, I'm already back, I already recovered. The fourth of these, and this is the final component of mental toughness, is adaptability. So how your new baseline compares to your old baseline. As a result of this hard thing, are you better for it? Or are you worse for it? All right, so if you stabilize after a bad thing happens, which you will eventually, at a higher new baseline, then you have high adaptability. You let the hard times beat the strength into you, not out of you. If you stabilize to your former baseline after a bad thing happens, you have medium adaptability. So you're acting normally, bad thing happens, you come back, and you're back to the way you were. You have medium adaptability. You didn't let it affect you. Fine, great. The last version of this is that you stabilize below your former baseline after a bad thing happens. And I'm going to talk about this for a minute because this is going to affect more than one of you. And
Mira para tu izquierda.
if that
Todo.
happens to you, it means to be
Todo para tu izquierda.
It means
Ajá.
the hard time
Así.
in this little visual here, you can kind of see the three versions of this. Either you adapt above, you got stronger from it, you stay the same as you were before, you didn't let it affect you, or you're permanently worse off as a result of the bad thing that happened. And so if the new baseline changes in either direction, positive or negative, then the experience traumatized you. And I want to use the actual definition of trauma here. Is that you have a permanent change in behavior as a result of an aversive stimulus. I'll translate that in a second, all right? So that means that you changed how you acted from something bad that happened to you. So just think about that. So whenever you hear people be like, she traumatized me, I would then respond, in what way did you change your behavior as a result of the bad thing? And if someone doesn't have an answer, it's like, no, she just did a bad thing, but guess what? You showed resilience, you showed fortitude, and you showed adaptability. So it didn't actually permanently change your behavior. Now I'm going to give you an example of trauma, bad thing, that creates a positive change in behavior. Is it still trauma? By my definition, yes. But was the trauma bad? Interesting. So let's dive in. So if the behavior change is positive, then it means you got better from a traumatic experience. That seems antithetical or against what most people would say about trauma. Trauma only makes you worse, right? It happens to you. You're a victim, right? What if it happens for you and you get better for it? If it's against your long-term goals, then you got worse from it. And you have low adaptability. Now I want to be clear, both outcomes mean you were traumatized. You had a permanent change of behavior from a bad thing. You learn to do something different going forward. And so people who take my words out of context make it seem like I justify trauma when it couldn't be further from the truth. All right, I hope no one has bad things happen to them. But I see bad things happening against our preferences.